Imagine if you were a server in a restaurant, working day and night, trying to scrape by as many tips as you can to live off of. Now, imagine if you were a single parent. How would that make you feel? Now imagine if you were a kitchen helper or a cook in the back of the restaurant and you see a server make more money than you will ever see within a few months. How would that make you feel? My name is Michael Ojeda, and I've done extensive research into the FLSA and the tipped minimum wage. And I'm going to be telling to you about what that is and why it is so bad, and my proposed solution here in the state of Florida and why it is so good. Now, you may ask yourself, why this is relevant to you? Now, have you ever been to a restaurant or worked at a restaurant before? Have you ever given a tip to someone? Because if you have, then this is something that you should know about. Now, let's get into what the FLSA and the tip minimum wage is. According to the United States Department of Labor, the Fair Labor Standards Act establishes the minimum wage, overtime pay, record keeping, and youth employment standards. But looking further into the minimum wage, we know that we have the federal minimum wage of $7.25. But there is another wage for employees who receive tips. For employees who receive tips, they receive $2.13, and they must make enough tips to reach the federal minimum wage. Now, employers must pay the difference to employees if they don't reach the federal minimum wage with their tips. And you may ask yourself, why is this all so bad? One of the reasons why this is so bad is that you cannot live off of the federal minimum wage anymore. According to an article from the Investopedia, you cannot live off the minimum wage. It is not a livable wage in this country. And we can take a closer look from a chart from the United States Department of Labor, in which here you can see to the left the tipping minimum wage and to the right the general minimum wage, and there is a huge gap between the both of them. There is a reason why states keep increasing their minimum wage more and more and more as time progresses onwards. The federal minimum wage doesn't cut it anymore. Now, another issue is regarding tipping, in which tipping has been shown to differentiate depending on the color of your skin, your race. According to a research article from the Iowa Law Review, this is really prevalent, in which it had shown that depending on your color, certain people may end up paying you differently. And this gets reinforced in another research article from the Economics of Tipping. Now, another issue with tipping is the sexual harassment that workers face, and this is prevalent in Service Not Included and in the Economics of Tipping, in which a lot of workers in the front of the restaurant receive a lot of sexual harassment from other people. Now, looking further into the article from Service Not Included, and it's shown that some employers don't even pay the difference that employees need, and had even talked about how you cannot financially stay safe relying on tips alone. One of the final problems with the tipped minimum wage is that a lot of workers in the back of the restaurant don't even get to see a shred of the benefits that are made at the front. While they make their wages, some servers in the front of the restaurant make more than what they would ever make within months. Now, what is my solution? My solution is to eliminate the tipped minimum wage and have restaurants refuse tipping altogether, instead employing service fees in Florida. Removing the tipped minimum wage would basically allow for servers to not be paid the federal minimum wage, but be paid the state minimum wage, which is a lot better than the federal minimum wage, as you saw in that one graph. Now, why is my solution a good solution? Other states have already incorporated laws to remove tipping altogether. States like Alaska, Hawaii, California, and Nevada. And not only that, according to Service Not Included, it had shown that removing tipping and having service fees in place have removed sexual harassment down by half. Not only that, but racial discrimination had also decreased. Looking back to the Iowa Law Review, they had stated in their conclusion that any solution like removing of tips would basically remove the issue of racial discrimination. Now, looking into another research article from the Journal of Psychological Issues and Human Resources, it had shown that having service fees in restaurants, especially in restaurants that seat a lot of people or high-end restaurants, That having a service fee would allow for a greater distribution of wealth amongst all of the people. So instead of the front of the restaurant being paid the most at times at these high-end restaurants or these most seated restaurants, you would have equal pay or fair pay for the people who also cook the meals in the back and also move them along the way. And this idea gets reinforced in the economics of tipping, in which some restaurant owners have even stated that including service fees had saw greater quality food, better professionalism, and better team spirit. All upsides for such a solution like this. Now, to conclude, I have told you what the FLSA and the tip minimum wage is and why it's so bad in terms of racial discrimination, sexual harassment, and the fact that some people don't even get paid enough to live off by. And what I want you as the audience to do is to go send a message to your congresswoman, congressman, your representative, or any restaurant owner that you know, and talk to them about removing tipping altogether within the state of Florida, allowing for service people at the front of restaurants to be paid the state minimum wage, to have a livable wage that's better than the federal minimum wage. We're also allowing for restaurant workers at the back to receive equal pay. Remember, these people work day and night to live off with what they have, and they don't have much. And it is our responsibility as the people of Florida to do something about this. Thank you.